I'm Dr. Rosy Daniel. I'm an integrative medicine consultant. I was a GP and I evolved through my work at the Bristol Cancer Help Centre through mind-body medicine into helping people get the best of all worlds: orthodox, complementary, mind-body, nutritional, spiritual. When I was a teenager, I had a best friend who had irritable bowel syndrome, and I noticed the way that it flowed with her mood and her state of mind. So if she was upset and anxious, it got worse. When she fell in love and got excited, it got better. This is back in the 70s, and I realised what I was witnessing was what I would now call the mind-body connection. In those days, there weren't words for it that I could find. So it took me off on a journey to really try to understand what I was seeing. I thought I would study acupuncture because they had an idea of the influence of mind on health. And during that period that I was getting the necessary A-levels to study acupuncture, friends and people I knew said, you're not going to waste a brain like yours on that alternative medicine rubbish, are you? And I thought, well, I don't agree, but that is how everybody thinks. So I thought I better hie me off to a medical school to get the necessary medical knowledge to be able to be a bridge between the worlds. And that's now happened. So that was a 13-year journey to get the A-levels, the medical training, the GP training, and all of that. And during that time, I opened a complementary medicine centre and a health food shop while I was a medical student. So during that time as a medical student, I ran Pulse Alternative Therapy Centre in Cardiff, and I very quickly set up 2 or 3 rooms upstairs for natural therapies. And as wonderful as I felt them to be, I still felt there was another dimension. So in those therapies, it was still me expert, you patient, and a dependent relationship. The next stage in my journey was, after qualifying, was to go along and find the Bristol Cancer Help Centre. So in 1985 I found the centre and all the lights went on. So that was the point where I witnessed mind-body medicine happening, but more than mind-body, spirit matter. You know, I really saw the full bandwidth of true holistic medicine and never looked back. When I got to the Cancer Help Centre, it was just such a moving moment. I saw people getting well from the inside out, and everything that I'd ever perceived as being possible, I realised was possible. And I was full of awe at the time. What was it that these clever doctors and therapists and people were doing to enable people to experience this amazing healing? And I stayed there, I studied, went for a year, sat in with the doctors, and after a lot of observation of practice, I realised that it was enabling people to come home to themselves and literally to come alive in terms of their personal spirit. Of course, that was enhanced with great food, spiritual healing, and lots of other beautiful things, art therapy, music therapy, to help people to do the necessary grieving and reorientation. But mainly it was about getting people back on purpose, you know, aligned with their true nature, that brought people back to life, created that quantum shift that Deepak Chopra calls, you know, he calls it quantum healing, when people really leap back up into their true energy and their authenticity.
So essentially, cancer is just your body out of balance.
Yes, definitely. For cancer to take to go forward, the cell nucleus, the genetic material has to mutate. So that's very much a nutritional issue. It means that you don't have the right plant foods particularly. Right now in Britain, we're up to a staggering 1.8 portions of fruit and vegetable that most of us eat, nowhere near the 5. And in Europe, it's 10 portions that is recommended. So we don't get the plant factors into our bodies, and the cell therefore is at risk of mutating the genetic material. And even beyond that, of course, if cells become abnormal, they're supposed to go into cell suicide, apoptosis, when certain genes, of course, become switched off, these oncogenes, because again of not having proper nutrition, then the cells start to grow out of control. And even then, our immune system is supposed to notice that the cells are wrong. But if your immune system is fatigued and your body's full of adrenaline and cortisol, the immune system doesn't work. So quite a number of mechanisms have to have fallen over for our body for the cancer to go forward. We are in a very odd state of imbalance now. You have to go through about 6 levels of mutation for a gene to become abnormal and turn into cancer. And it is a very severe indictment of the lack of balance when you think that now we have a 1 in 3 lifetime chance of getting cancer, and that's building up towards 1 in 2. So that shows how out of balance our lives are and our diets are. But I'm very hopeful that we are getting the message. A study that came out in 2007 in America showed that women with breast cancer who both adopted a healthy diet and started to exercise survived over double their counterparts who didn't. And that benefit wasn't only the people who changed their diet only, little survival benefit. The people who started eating right, little benefit, but combined, massive benefit. So it's also getting ourselves moving and exercising that makes the big difference. One of the other things I do is train in what's called health creation. When I left the Bristol Cancer Help Centre at the turn of the millennium, I thought, why wait until we've got cancer to do all this fantastic stuff to improve our state? Why not bring this all back up the river and see if we can actually prevent illness, not just cancer, because at that time I wrote a book, a cancer prevention book, and found out that 81% of cancer is created by lifestyle issues. And then I looked at heart disease, about 75%. Then I looked at type 2 diabetes, about 90% lifestyle related. Obesity, about 95% lifestyle related. So I developed a health coaching approach called Health Creation. And this is really a whole new healthcare system. Very excitingly, this is now linked to Bath Spa University, who have accredited the trainings. And I've just been invited to join a group at Harvard University who are working to define the competencies and standards in health coaching. So we train people with backgrounds in complementary healthcare, in counselling, maybe people who've had illness experience or been carers and know how much that crucial support, because lots of us know what needs to change, but we don't have the motivation, or we're unhappy, or we've become crushed in our spirit, dispirited, broken-hearted, and we need holding, we need the motivation to change what I call health-defining behaviour. So that's the Health Creation Mentor Training, which people can now do vocationally or to get credits in the Bath Spa University Mentoring and Coaching Award. Certainly reclaiming our power is a huge part of this. Our great spiritual teacher Carolyn Miss says that our ability to be well is entirely proportional to the amount of our spiritual energy we have for ourselves. And in my work, almost everybody I meet with cancer are people who are very other focused. You know, they're people who, beautiful people, very nice people, very kind people, but who almost forget they exist and are perennially looking after other people. Now, that is a very beautiful thing to do, but our immune system gets the message, well, I don't really matter. And often those are people who, you know, they never say no, they always are, you know, chameleon-like, taking on the distress in situations. They may in their families be people who are symptom carriers for their families, but these people need to, or they're what I call energy fountains, you know, they're giving out, and they never reverse that polarity and take energy in, you know, so no wonder they get exhausted, burnt out, deplete, and that the immune system is very passive. There is so much evidence for the power of the integrative medicine approach and regenerative health and health creation coaching and so forth. There is so much evidence, it's a joke. It's a big myth that's been spread that there isn't any evidence. You know, when you look at even simple studies like if a nurse does 15 minutes of relaxation with somebody while they're preparing the day before an operation, it cuts down post-operative complications by about 50%. If they add in the anaesthetist holding the hand of the person while they're giving the pre-anaesthetic chat, it cuts down complications by 75%. Look at the cost saving in pure, simple humanizing of medicine, you know. The placebo studies, massive effect of placebo. You know, when the person believes in the doctor and the doctor believes in their treatment and they like each other, you can get up to a 90% placebo effect. So with gentle medicines and self-healing, you can catalyse the most wonderful shifts in health and well-being. All studies that have been done about self-healing come back to belief. Belief in ourselves, our ability to self-heal, belief in our therapists and doctors, belief in the medicines, belief in higher powers that will heal us, and practices around belief, whether that's affirmation or hypnosis or things that change our perception. So we are mightily powerful beings, and if we can get into the right frame of mind, we can self-heal.